Welcome to the Well Said Podcast, the podcast for inspiring as well as aspiring authors and speakers. Now, here's your host, dynamic author and speaker, Cedric L. Threets.
What's going on, great people? Hey, you know why I call you great? Because somebody's got to be great today. It might as well be you. Welcome once again to the Well Said Podcast, the podcast for inspiring as well as aspiring authors and speakers. I am your host, Cedric the Edutainer Threet. Hey, I got another great guest with me today. I know you're going to love this young lady. But before we get started, you know what you got to do? You got to hit that like button. You got to hit the subscribe. You got to hit the notification bell. And you got to share this video because we're coming at you with some great content. And today, my guest is really going to blow you away. My guest today is a fantastic author who I met about a year ago. Her name is Miss Negrita Smart. And Smart really describes her because she's very smart. But Negrita Smart is a small town girl from Dadeville, Alabama. She is a believer, a wife, a sister, and teacher at heart. The first of her family to graduate from college, Negrita holds a master's in business administration and insurance designation of chartered property and casualty underwriters. As an insurance professional for more than 20 years, she also holds insurance licenses in property and casualty and life and health. Negrita is a best-selling, award-winning children's book author. She is the author of Grace and the Golden Rule, Grace Loves Her Neighbor, Grace and the Power of Prayer, and Putting God First. As a recipient of the Book Fest Awards, Grace Loves Her Neighbor and Grace and the Golden Rule have been displayed in Times Square in New York City on the NASDAQ and I Love New York billboards in recognition of outstanding works of fiction. Grace and the Golden Rule and Grace Loves Her Neighbor have received the Christ Lit Award for exemplary Christian fiction. Negrita has appeared in Bold Journey and Kitlio magazines, On the Front Porch, and It's All Good television shows, as well as the Assignment podcast. She is currently developing a children's book series for a new character named Daniel. An active member of the New Covenant Ministries of the World Incorporated, Negrita is driven to share life lessons through storytelling and relatable characters. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you my dear friend, the talented, the smart, best-selling, award-winning Miss Negrita Smart. How you doing, Negrita?
All is well, Cedric. It's good to see you. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to appear here on the Well Said Podcast. We are here just trying to inspire other authors and aspiring authors, letting them see who's out there and what's out there, because you know a lot of people, they want to do the type of stuff that you do, but they don't believe that they can do it. So that's what this podcast is all about, is showing people that it can be done. So I really appreciate you for taking time out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I read the bio, but tell us what you're up to now.
Well, I have a couple of projects that are going on right now. As you read in the bio, I have been working on Daniel's story, and I am thrilled to report that I have actually completed the manuscript.
Okay.
So I have the full manuscript for Daniel's story. I like to call that words on the pages.
Yeah.
So we have words on the pages. We've completed that project. So that's my most current project. I always have other projects going on as well, but that's my most upfront project at the moment. So we have Daniel's story that has developed, and he's going to teach us a lesson on actually forgiveness. We're going to deal with
Okay.
forgiveness in his story.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. And now the book that you're going to be talking about today, as well as the other one, is called Putting God First. That's a book for teenagers, and it says here it's an inspirational guide for teens through powerful scripture and practical guidance. This book encourages young hearts to seek God first and discover the joy and strength that comes from putting Him at the center of everything. Tell us a little bit about that one.
This book is different for me than the other children's book because I'm dealing with an older age group,
Mm-hmm.
teenagers. And so I was asked to speak at a youth extravaganza, and the theme was putting God first. And as I was gathering, meditating for that occasion, I thought about we tell these kids so much what they need to do, why it is important to do, but oftentimes we don't fully connect with
Mm-hmm.
how.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what this book has allowed me to do. It's allowed me to go a little deeper, connect the dots, so to speak, with the children to let them know, yes, it's important to put God first, but let me explain to you, let me give you some tips, a simple acronym of first
Mm-hmm.
on how you can put God first. And that's going to change your life forever.
Okay. Okay. So it's an acronym.
Yes, first
Okay.
is an acronym. As you enter into the book, I have a short greeting to the kids,
Uh-huh.
which just explains, as I said, oftentimes we tell you to do so much. We tell you to get off of the cell phone. We tell you not to sit too close to the TV. We tell you
Right.
not to run with scissors. Just all these things you hear
Yeah.
from youth
Mm-hmm.
of no, no, no. But then
Right.
we're going to explain how. And
Okay.
in doing so, the word first is an acronym. So
Mm-hmm.
for every letter in the word first, there's a short topic, a short chapter,
Mm-hmm.
introduction on how that's done.
Okay, okay. And that how is so important. As you said, we're always telling people what to do, but we don't tell them how to do it. And me, I'm big on acronyms. I love acronyms. I love taking words and making these acronyms. And one of my books was the seven keys to success. And the word success has seven letters in it, and each letter stands for a key. So I took that and made an acronym and did that seven keys to success, seven simple little things that everybody can do. And those acronyms actually make things easier for people. Would you agree?
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. So with the word first, the first letter being F, it's
Mm-hmm.
fear the Lord. First, there has to be a reverence and respect of the Creator and
Mm-hmm.
who He is, and that He created you and gave you life. Then the I is I love God. So if
Mm.
He's done all that, would you love Him? R is read the Bible. Now, the Bible comes in different formats. We know
Mm-hmm.
that. I have Bible apps
Right.
on my phone, but I
Yeah.
also like to hear the rustle of the pages.
Mm-hmm.
So, to read the Bible, the letter S stands for set goals that glorify God. And
Mm.
I explain in the book that God has given me so many gifts and talents, and all
Yeah.
those come from above. And how else would I show Him that I appreciate that than to align some goals that are going to glorify Him?
Mm-hmm.
And then the T stands for talk to God. And it's not
Mm.
hard. Talking
Right.
to God,
Right.
just as you and I are talking, Cedric, we can talk to God. We can talk to God in a quiet room
Right.
with a whisper. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not anything that's complicated. It's not formal,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just talking. In that communication, it's talking, but also taking time out to listen to what He wants to share with us.
Wow. Wow. And that's great. FIRST. Five simple little things that anybody can do to put God first. I love that. And what was the F again?
Fear the Lord.
Fear the Lord. I
Fear the Lord.
love him. And then what let me see if I get it now. What was the R?
Read the Bible.
Read the Bible. And then the S was set goals. And the T was take time with him. Take time to talk to him.
Take time to talk to God.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. And anybody can do those things. And that is
Absolutely.
so wonderful. And you say you got that idea, and I want the people who are aspiring to be authors or writers to listen to this now. You got that idea, you said, from speaking at a conference, and the theme was putting God first.
Right. It was an afternoon. It was a Saturday afternoon. We invited local church groups to come,
Mm-hmm.
and again, we take some time to highlight the youth,
Mm-hmm.
right? To
Mm-hmm.
focus on them. So yes, it was an afternoon program, and I was asked to speak, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the thing, and that's what God gave me.
Mm-hmm.
God is such the source of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So I've often said that inspiration is not forced, it flows freely and
Mm-hmm.
it flows from him. So
Yeah.
for anyone who's watching, if you're listening, I challenge you to just take some time, some quiet time, and just
Mm-hmm.
listen to God. And if there's
Mm-hmm.
an idea that you have, He can help you manifest that
Mm-hmm.
idea because He's the one that actually dropped that in your spirit in the first
That's
place.
it.
He gave you that idea.
That's it. I always tell people that the Holy Spirit writes them. I just pick up the pen.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
that inspiration and those ideas can come from anywhere. With you, it came from speaking at that conference. You could get ideas from, sometimes I'll hear a sermon that my pastor just taught, and I'll get something from that. Or I can be driving down the road and I'll see a billboard that says something. Those ideas come from everywhere. We just have to be in tune, and that's what I want people who are aspiring to do, is to know that these ideas can come from anywhere. And people always say, well, I don't know if I can do this, and I said, everybody has a story. I tell people that if you can talk, you can write. So, because you get these ideas and stuff from everywhere. I was speaking to a young lady the other day, and she was saying that she has these dreams, and she said they're scary dreams, and she's writing horror books right now, but she doesn't know if she should release these horror stories. But I told her that you could do it another way if you like, because I gave her the example of, you remember the Twilight series.
Yes.
Yeah, the lady who wrote that series, she said she got all that from a dream she had, and and look what happened with that. So these things just come from everywhere. So now, I've never met anybody personally. I know you and I met about a year or so ago. We were at this event. It was a women's empowerment summit or something, where they had all of these great female authors there, and they were there with their books. And for some reason, they invited me. I don't know why they invited me, but I was in the room with all of these great ladies, and they had some awesome books. And I walked over to your table and introduced myself, and your husband was there, and we had a great conversation, and just hit it off right at the bat. And you had your other books there with you, the books with the one that's on the New York Times Square billboard and all that kind of stuff. Now, how did that happen? That's great. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness, I will never forget being in that moment. So I was an award recipient of one of the Book Fest awards
Hmm.
for children's books. And as a result of that, I had the opportunity of book two. Actually, it was book two that
Hmm.
was first displayed in New York. So that was Grace Loves Her Neighbor. And what I recall about that is as if it became full circle for me
Hmm.
because I had an aunt that lived in New York and I always wanted to visit her, but I never had the opportunity before she left us. So being there in New York with the book on the NASDAQ billboard, on the characters, they're always going to be family members.
Hmm.
Uh, so I had an uncle whose name is Mr. Jerry, and the aunt that I'm speaking about, Miss Nellie, she's on the cover. So there I am, Times Square, New York, the NASDAQ billboard, and I see these characters, and my Aunt Nellie, the character who's portraying my Aunt Nellie, is on the billboard. And that was a
Wow.
wow moment
Wow.
for me. Never got a chance to visit her, but we
Mhm.
were still there together on that
Yeah.
board. Mhm.
Yeah, that is so awesome. It doesn't get any bigger than that, people. I'm telling you, if this is something you are aspiring to do, this young lady from Dadeville, Alabama, has a book on the billboard at Times Square. I mean, you can't get any bigger than that. I mean, those are some accolades that will go on forever, and I want to congratulate you on that and on your award because this is something that can help other people. So now, do you do any visiting to schools? How do you do that?
Oh, sure. I love to visit libraries. So I
Hmm.
visit libraries most often, open to school visits, of course. But most recently, I visited my mother's hometown library, which is in Goodwater, Alabama.
Okay.
So I have small town roots, small town
Yeah.
girl from Dable, and
Hmm.
even smaller roots that branch out to Goodwater, where my mother was born. So I go there and I spend time with them, story time, and I read books. And actually, this last story time, I was able to incorporate one of your books, and the kids loved it. Oh, they loved that book. It was different, but the same. And so to ask them, well, what did you learn from that? What did you glean from that? And
Hmm.
we talked about it's okay to be different, and we can still be friends. So they love that. So
Yeah.
each summer during the summer reading program, I visit libraries and spend time with them, or even outside of that, if it's an event that
Hmm.
I would spend time with the kids and try to instill with them a lesson that they can take with them, and they'll have that lesson with them forever.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And I was so honored that you asked to use one of my books. That little book, different but the same, is it's just been such a blessing to me and to share it with other people. Probably the biggest compliment I ever received was I got a call from a young lady one day and she said, "Mr. Three, please don't take this the wrong way, but I'm sick of your little book." She said, "I got 200 books in this house, and this is the only book my daughter will read." And they just read it over and over and over again. But that's high praise when somebody takes your book and they read it over and over again, just like a movie, like Frozen. How many times will kids watch Frozen or The Lion King? So when somebody wants to read your book over and over again, you know you're doing something right. And I'm sure you've had stories like that with Miss Grace. Tell us about Miss Grace in this series that you did. I have a book here. Grace loves her neighbor. Tell us about Miss Grace.
Yes, that's the one, the first one that was actually on the New York Billboard. And so
Hmm.
my Aunt Nellie, she's on the cover. She has the namesake of my aunt there. Now, the Grace series of adventures is about a 5-year-old girl with a big heart. So she's on missions to help people spread kindness and show love. So in all the books, she's finding ways to do that. She's first introduced in Grace and the Golden Rule. That's where we first introduce Grace. The
Hmm.
golden rule, as we've been taught, is to treat people the way you want to be treated.
Hmm.
So she's presented with a situation. She meets a new girl. The girl doesn't feel the same way she does about some things in life. And so
Hmm.
she has to remember what her parents taught her about the golden rule. So that's where the story begins. And it ends up where she's showing a very generous act of kindness.
Hmm.
And actually, what I want to do for your listeners, your viewers, on Monday, July 28th, I'm going to make Grace and the Golden Rule available as a free ebook on Amazon.
All
So if
right.
you go on Monday to Amazon so that you can become acquainted with Grace and her first book, you can get that off of Amazon. So I just want to give that to everybody.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. See what you get on the Well Said podcast. You get freebies and all kinds of stuff. You won't get that anywhere else but the Well
Absolutely.
Said podcast. That's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's Monday, July 28th. So make sure you check that out. And then I'm also doing other video logs, just to journey the stages of the author journey on Instagram. So you can also follow me on Instagram. Very easy to find. It's Negrita Smart. So I always love to connect with people and support support others on their author journey or their projects, whatever their endeavors are. So I'm always looking for ways to connect and support.
That's great. That's great. And that's what we authors do. We're here to help and support each other. It's a network, people. There's
Yeah.
enough out here for everybody, and that's what we want to do. We want to get out here and show people, first of all, that it can be done. And we want to help other people who are aspiring to do this and inspire them at the same time by letting them see what we're doing and offer help anywhere we can. So that was the one where she was doing the golden rule and speaking on kindness and stuff. And the Grace loves her neighbor. What is that one all about?
Grace loves her neighbor. Grace loves her neighbor, most definitely. And in her neighborhood, there's a neighbor that needs some help. And this little girl takes it upon herself to notice that the neighbor who would not ask for help needs some help. So she steps in, gets the support and help of her parents, and she helps out the neighbor.
Okay, okay. And we all need good neighbors.
We all need good neighbors, absolutely. The third book in the series is Grace and the Power of Prayer. So
Hmm.
again, this little 5 year old girl, she has a big heart. She's on the move. So in that book, she has a friend who has a need. And so instead of thinking about herself and what was going on at the time, she decides she will shift gears and she will pray for her friend. And then at the end of the book, we see what happens when she has directed her prayers, and we'll see the outcome of her prayer. All right.
Okay.
So that's dealing with intercessory prayer, unselfish prayers, being concerned about the needs of others. Um, so in that book, we have the character Daniel. He's introduced in that book. And so from this introduction, I've begun his series of books. So
Okay.
his book will be available 2026. So I'm debating on which season, but it
Hmm.
will be available in 2026. We're going to begin the first book in his series that deals with Daniel. So Grace is the little girl with the big heart, and Daniel, he's dubbed as the little boy with the excellent spirit. So we'll see what he teaches us and what adventures he has.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So look at these simple little stories. I love a book that I read years ago. I think the title was Everything I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, which taught you how to wait your turn, stand in line, how to be nice and kind. And those lessons follow us for the rest of our lives. And here you are with these same simple little lessons that anybody could do, being kind, loving your neighbor, talking about the golden rule. And then here you are, you introduce another character. Look at this, people, introducing another character from this book that spawns into another book. We see that all the time, even on some of the TV shows that we watch. You can see a character. I think it was the Jeffersons came from All in the Family or from Maul and all that kind of stuff. You can spear these things on into another series. And I just think that is so awesome the way you can do that because people out there who, again, I know I'm beating a dead horse here and I'm repeating myself, but a lot of people just feel like they can't do this. And when they see people like you and seeing what you're doing, it lets them know that it can be done. Now, I love the illustrations in this book. Who is your illustrator for these books?
My illustrator is so talented. His name is Negrita Smart, and he lives in California.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually never met him in person, but
Mm-hmm.
we correspond through the publisher,
Yeah.
through notes. And I send him scene illustration notes, and he sends me um, the pages, and then we
Mm-hmm.
make tweaks based on let's add this or let's remove that. And so
Mm-hmm.
we come to a final product that we're both proud of, both
Yeah.
happy to share. So I've used him in all of the children's books illustrations, and I have plans to work together again with him. He's an excellent person to work
Mm-hmm.
with. It's amazing to me how he can take my notes and then produce that on pages.
Yeah.
Right? So I have the
Yeah.
words on the pages, and then he can produce such beautiful illustrations.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the beauty of illustrators. They can do that. They can take your words and just bring them to life. And I think it's amazing how they do that. One of the first questions I always get asked is, "Did I do the illustrations?" and I tell them no. I draw stick people, and and, and I draw them crooked. So I leave that up to people who know what they're doing. Which again brings me to another point in this journey of being an author, especially of children's books. You can't do it all. Now, there are some authors who do their own illustrations, but most of them don't. That means that you need a team. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. You need a support system. You stay in your lane. If you are the author, if you're the writer, you do that and just let other people do what they do. You don't have to control all of it. You let them do what they do and you take it from there. And the results are just mind blowing. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, I totally agree. Now, there are some things that in the beginning we may not know how to do, but I do believe also it's important to become a
Exactly.
student and
Exactly.
learn. And until
Mm-hmm.
you're comfortable taking on that piece of the
Mm-hmm.
puzzle, because it is pieces of the puzzle and putting a
Yeah.
song together, then sure, you want the experience of someone um, who knows how to do what you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
achieve. So yes, absolutely. I think that's very, very important. And to anyone, Cedric, who's watching, if you're listening, if there's something that you want to do, don't delay. Don't
Mm-hmm.
delay with that. Start today. Someone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Again, as you read and as I've mentioned, I'm a small town girl. If someone would have said to me a couple of years ago that you would travel to New York or you would have a best selling book, you would win other awards, if you would be writing actually the fifth book, if we include putting God first,
Mm-hmm.
I would not have believed that. So I'm actually just in awe of what all has developed.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I say to God be the glory for
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, becoming a student, we have to dedicate ourselves to lifelong learning. Lifelong learning. Learn something every day. And one of the best ways to learn something is through reading. And again, that's the beauty of what you do. You're teaching people these things, and if they want to do it, they can learn how to do it as well. So now, are your books, are they self-published or did you go through a traditional publisher to do it?
I did not use a traditional publisher, so I'm considered an independent author.
Mm-hmm.
So I use two different publishers actually. I use a children's book publisher,
Mm-hmm.
See Black Expressions,
Mm-hmm.
LLC. She assists me with the children's book, and then Cool Bird Publishing Studios assists me with putting God first because it's a different genre. So she helped me with that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's finding who can help you produce that product,
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
produce that piece.
give us those names again. Somebody else may want to reach out to those people.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So again, for the children's book, it's C Black Expressions LLC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Chrissy Black Morrell, and then there's Cool Birds Publishing House Studios, Tamiko Kelly. So
Okay.
again, they're easy to find on social media. Reach out to them; they can help you. They are brilliant women, and I enjoyed working with them on all projects. So
Mm-hmm.
we've worked together on more than one projects. Um, but again, you will not be disappointed if you reach out to them for assistance. They are stellar people to work with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So now in the future here, you mentioned going out to libraries and we have the school year getting ready to start. Do you have any schools that you're getting ready to visit?
I have not opened the books or prepped any author visits to schools, but if anyone wants to reach out for that, they can connect with me on my website, negritasmart.com. If you want to submit a request, we can get that going. And also, again, you can connect with me through social media. On Instagram, it's Negrita Smart, you can send me a DM, and so I respond to those as well.
Okay. Wow, that is so awesome. Sounds like you're pretty busy getting all of these things going, and you're available, making yourself available for people so you can come out and share the books with them. Because I know the response of these kids. I've seen some of the pictures of you speaking with the kids, and I see the big smiles on their faces, and even some of the adults are in awe when you come out and share your works with them. So I think that is just so awesome. So now, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's thinking about doing this?
I would advise them to find someone who's already doing what you would like to do,
Mm-hmm.
and ask them if they can share with you their successes
Mm-hmm.
and their failures. Because
Right.
as I mentioned before,
Right.
some of this you have to find out what works and
Mm-hmm.
what doesn't work.
Yeah.
You and I talked earlier. I'm in the process of pitching Grace and the Golden Rule to producers. So even with that process, I've received some no's,
Mm-hmm.
but still, I'm encouraged to keep pressing. So again, find someone who's open to share that they had some uh, failures,
Mm-hmm.
something didn't work,
Yeah.
right? To be transparent with you, and then to help guide you along the way. To be honest with you, so I think that's very important. Find someone who's already doing something you want to do. Be
Mm-hmm.
a student and
Yeah.
learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you to pattern yourself exactly like them? I would advise no, because everyone is different.
Mm-hmm.
But to pull some fundamentals, some basics, I think that is important. And then from there, you find yourself, your unique self, and
Mm-hmm.
what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's great advice. And you mentioned earlier too to just go out there and do it and don't delay. I delayed doing this podcast for probably 3 or 4 years before I finally just said, "Hey, I'm just gonna get out here and do this thing." And if I fall flat on my face, so what? I'm gonna get back up and try it again. And I am just having so much fun. I tell people I'm still building the plane while I'm flying. So that's just what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. I published my first book in 2023, and it's 2025, and I'm working on book number 5. So
Wow.
again, start somewhere. Start somewhere.
Yeah.
And to that point, to your first manuscript, what you're writing, don't expect that to be a perfect masterpiece that first
Mm-hmm.
time. There's a
Mm-hmm.
backspace, but use it.
Yeah.
Use it. Use
Yeah.
it. Don't expect it to be a perfect project in
Right.
the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. I call the first one my sloppy copy.
I like that, Cedric.
Yeah. It's a sloppy copy. And then
I
you
like
just
that.
take it and tweak it to how you want it and you go on from there. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
that's how you do it. And I mean, you doing that, you say you started in 2023, 2 years ago.
The first book was published in 2023. I started writing, I completed that manuscript in November
Mm-hmm.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first book was actually released February 2023.
Wow. And all and already the people in New York know about you.
They know about it.
Come on now. It doesn't get any better than that. That is so awesome. You can start here and you can go anywhere, people. That's what it's all about. That's how you do it. Well,
Absolutely.
Negrita, thank you so much for coming on to the Well Said podcast. Again, people, just like all the other guests, everything she said was well said. Because that's what we do here on this podcast. I want you guys to continue to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this information, and go out to, you said it's on Amazon on the 28th. They could get the free
Yes, July
ebook.
28th. I want to introduce you to Grace and the Golden Rule. Go to Amazon July 28th. That's Monday, and get a free ebook.
Okay. Get a free ebook, ladies and gentlemen.
Ebook.
It's
Yeah.
it's right there. So that means I got to get this out fast because I'm recording it right now and I got to get it out right away so people can have it. And I'm gonna do that as soon as we're done. Thanks again, Negrita. I really appreciate it. And we'll be talking further. We'll have you on again when you get Daniel going, and we'll talk about putting God first and the results of that and how these teenagers are going to be blessed with all of that good stuff. So we'll have you on again, and we'll just do what we do.
Thank you, Cedric. It's been my pleasure. Always good to see you.
All right, likewise. Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
People, again, keep being great now, because somebody's got to be great today. It might as well be you.
Thanks for listening to the Well Said Podcast. Tune in next time for another exciting and informative edition. If you need help on how to become an author or speaker, contact Cedric at cedric3.com. And thanks again for listening to the Well Said Podcast.